So in the last two versions of oXygen, we've worked a lot on the user interface improvements, because while it's great to have a lot of features, it's also important to allow the user to customize the working environment to suit his needs. And being pleasant on the eye, it's always a plus. So in this presentation, we will talk about the color themes, something new added in oXygen, about the Retina and HiDPI support, and the toolbar improvements. So the color themes. Users like to customize their working environment. Some of them prefer a dark theme. For some, this is just a preference. For others, it's a matter of accessibility. And having this in mind, we've added 4 themes in oXygen. 2 light themes, which basically use dark colors on light backgrounds, and 2 dark themes with light colors on dark backgrounds. Besides that, if you are on a Windows machine and you've activated a Windows high contrast theme, then oXygen will automatically pick it up, and it will look like this if the theme is dark, or like this if the theme is white. So it's an accessibility aspect. Now, obviously, just 4 themes are not going to be to everyone's liking. So the themes are customizable and shareable. I'll go to oXygen and show you how a theme can be customized and shared. So you go to Options, Preferences, on the Appearance page, and the first thing you must do is you must choose from one of the built-in themes. So you'll choose a built-in themes as a starting point. And you also get a little preview here. And after you've chosen the theme, it's time to change colors, to change backgrounds. And here you have some shortcuts to the various pages in oXygen where these colors can be modified. So for example, I'll go and I'll change the editor background color to a greenish color. Now, what you must understand is that these themes are like another layer of defaults for the colors. So, and on top of these defaults come the oXygen options, the preferences. So right now I've changed a color, right? But it's not yet in the theme. It's in my personal oXygen options. So to get it in the theme, I'll go back to the Appearance page, and I'll choose this Export button here. And basically the theme is exported as an XML file, and I give it a name. And save it. And now this theme is present here, and I can select it. And again, I can continue to customize it, go to various pages, change colors, but don't forget, after you've done that, to export all these colors back in, to export them into the theme. Now if I apply this theme, of course a restart is necessary to get all actions to all colors to apply, but you get an idea on how it changed. So that's how to customize it. Now to share it, you'll get that XML file that you've seen, that you've just saved, and you can give it to other users interested in this theme, and they can choose this import button and select that XML file, and they'll automatically have all your customization. And people have already started to customize the built-in themes, like maybe the graphite put a more light background or a more darker one, and so on. Now, you might have noticed that the author view perfectly blends into the current theme. So here, this is an author view in the middle, and it also uses light colors on dark backgrounds as the entire theme. And how is this done is through supporting 3 new custom medias. So like I said, oXygen, the author layout is being driven by CSS rules. You write CSS rules to control how it should look, and now you can use these medias to tell it how to look on a dark theme. So if I put here the oXygen dark theme media, it means that these CSS rules will come in effect only when a dark theme is active in oXygen. These are the 2 medias, the oXygen high contrast black and oXygen high contrast white, are useful if you are again on a Windows machine and a Windows high contrast theme it's in effect. That's when they'll activate. The first thing you'll notice if you're using a Retina or a HiDPI screen is that we are using a new set of actions with a double resolution. So on these screens, oXygen will look much cleaner and crisp than it previously did using a standard resolution icons. This new set of double resolution icons are used in the user interface and in the author editing mode, namely for rendered images and for inline actions, because inline actions can also have an icon rendered. And how we do that? Well, we're using a naming convention. So normally, when you write your CSS for the author mode, and you need to put an image there, or you'll refer to your normal image, in this case, search 24. And if oXygen detects that it runs on a high pixel density screen, then it will append a suffix. You see here the @ and 2x. And if an image with this name is present, then it will use this one instead. But if not, it will revert to the default one. The same goes for when a dark theme is being activated. So again, if a dark theme is activated, we will look for an image that ends with this particular suffix, _dark. And of course, if it's a high pixel density and a dark theme, both suffixes will be added. So it's quite easy to, if you've customized the framework, if you have a framework, it's quite easy to make it look good on these high pixel density screens. Another thing you'll notice in version 17 is that we've redesigned and we've restructured all of our toolbars. And this was a huge load of work because for every action on the toolbar, we needed to create 4 different icons. One for light theme, another for a dark theme, and 2 more for high resolution screens. Now, I said that the toolbars have been restructured, but you shouldn't worry that you won't find your actions in the place you are used to, because now the toolbars are fully configurable all the way down to the action level. Let's see how that looks. So up until version 17, all you could do with the toolbar was either to hide it or to present it, but that was all. Now you'll get this configuration dialog, and in it you'll see all the available toolbars in oXygen, and there's also a nice preview here because the name won't tell you much, but visually you'll identify the toolbar you are looking for much faster by recognizing the icons it contains. And there's also a search field on the top, so you could also use that if you know you want to find an action to comment something. Right, so let's take one such toolbar. So if you expand it, you'll see all the built-in actions that are normally available in this toolbar. But if you don't want these actions, you can just unselect it. And you can add, from this button here, you can add your own actions. Like this. So this means that each toolbar that we have, you can customize it according to your needs. Now, another important aspect is where this configuration is being stored. And the answer is inside the layout file, together with the views configuration. So oXygen has this layout file in which it used to store the information about which views are present, which are not, and where each view is being placed. And now we've stored the information about the toolbar customization in the same file. And this is great because with just one configuration file, you can now control the entire workspace. And I want to talk a bit about this layout file sharing too, because it addresses a delicate problem. Now, oXygen addresses to quite large audiences, different type of users. Some of them are power users and they like to see a lot of views and actions. Others are not like that and are just starting with XML and with oXygen. And this complexity, it's intimidating. And what's great is that you can customize the layout for each type of user, each such group of users, and you can share this layout file to them so they will get the right, just what they need and nothing more. And how you do that in oXygen is quite simple. You start with the default layout and you just you hide views that you don't like. You use the show view menu to present some other views that are relevant for your users. You customize the toolbars like I've shown you. And when you're happy with the result, then you go and export this file. And you do it from here. And after you export this file, you'll end up with a file with a .layout extension. And the next step is how to bring this layout to the users. And one way to do that is to send them the layout file through emails or through other means, and they can individually load it in their oXygen instances because they have a load layout action here. So they'll just select this custom, they'll browse for the layout file, and they'll import it. But an even better solution, if you are using oXygen project files, is to ship the layout file together with the project. Why is that good? It's good because automatically, while using this project, all of your users will have the same layout without having to give them any procedure to follow to get the right layout. How you ship a layout file with the project? Well, the first part is the same. You customize it, as I've shown you. You export it, and you end up with a layout file. But the next step is to put it somewhere inside your project. For example, here I'm using such a layout imposed in my project. So what I did, I saved this layout file somewhere in the project structure, and then I went to Options, Preferences, on the application layout page, and I switched this Options page to project level. What it means now is that all the options from this page are going to be stored in that project file, in that XPR file. And after that, I select the application layout as being a custom one, and I give the path to my layout file using this project directory editor variable. So this ensures that my project it's shareable, because this automatically expands to the location of the project. And that's it. Now I can commit my project to Git or Subversion, and the users will automatically get the layout while they start working inside this project. And of course, it's also good because for different projects, you might require different layouts. If it's a project about technical documentation, then you probably need some views. If it's a project in which your users write XSLCs, then the layout should be different. Another way to share the layout is through a plugin. So a plugin is a software component that can extend the standard functionality that oXygen has through a number of extensions, of Java-based extension. And people are building plugins, so I felt it is good to also mention these. If you have such a plugin, then perhaps it makes sense to also impose a layout file inside this plugin. And a bit of code here. So a layout file can be imposed from a workspace access plugin, and basically you'll have to ship the application layout file with your plugin. It's going to be there with the resources. And then from when the plugin gets loaded, it can impose the layout file by using the setGlobalObject property API. Who knows, maybe you'll need it sometimes. I've talked a lot about imposing a layout, but that doesn't mean that the user will be forced to use just the views and the toolbar icon actions that you've customized for him. At any given time, he is able to further customize the layout and get it to a different aspect and different form. And at any given time, he will be able to reset it to the original form that he imported and you've provided for him. And he can do that through this reset layout action, again, in the window menu. And because the small things matters, also on the user improvement side, we've added a breadcrumb views for the text page. So the breadcrumb was in the author mode only, and it was this little toolbar here, this little panel on top of the editor, and it presented the path from the root element to the current element in which you are working in the author mode. And hearing the request from our users, we've also added such a breadcrumb view in the text page. Who knows, maybe one of you was the one who requested it, so ta-da! Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions.
Yes. I ask you how it looks like the breadcrumb path in case of elements in different namespace. If we too long.
I don't think we present the namespace there, but I think you get that information from a tooltip, for example. That additional information.
So you get the qualified names with prefix and local name, but you will not get on the breadcrumb also like
the namespace. Yes, it's going to be short.
Yes.
The menu bar can be made to the menu bar with
if you can customize the menu bar.
Yeah,
well, not from this interface, but from a plugin, it can be done from a workspace access plugin.
Because some users just want to see.
I see. Yes.
4 or 5 buttons.
I get it. Yes.
Yeah, even they are more than, I don't know, 70.
That's an interesting idea. Yes. If you are simplifying the toolbars, why not simplifying the main menu too?
Yeah.
Well, actually, we have it's called a startup plugin, and that has a configuration file that you can provide to specify which actions should be removed from the menu.
Yeah. And you can remove all.
Yes, I think there is another question.
It might be an idea to, I know that a few years ago I said it in short, to have an evaluation version of oXygen which is clipped down, because users that want to compare XML editors can validate.
Exactly.
So
but with the layout at the project level, basically if they start a simple project, if they open the simple project, they get a very simple layout.
So, for example, you could customize a layout file.
the wrong choice, because now they have XMetal and I have to work with that and not have.
Yes, but for example, when you encounter these users, you could have a layout file prepared in a project file, and if you just open that project, it will automatically simplify the layout, and they'll see just that simplified layout from the very start.
Yeah, but it's if you have to open that project, people open option, then they open a project, and first they see everything, and then they open the project, and it should be the other way around.
That was one way to do it, but you can also put a plugin in that oXygen instance, and it would automatically simplify the layout. So you can prepare an oXygen instance. So the first step is the same, just create a layout file as simple as you desire, and then you can put it through these means.
But to understand, the idea would be to have like a welcome screen, and then they can choose between 3 profiles, let's say. They choose expert, they get this, but if they choose beginner, they may get a different layout from start.
From a commercial perspective, that would be a good idea.
And
People,
pictures.
you're one step too late if you want people to prepare oXygen.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. You get all sorts of feedback on these parts of, for example, one of our users said, it was a project manager, and it said that it recommended to his team that anytime they want to do something and they don't know how to do it, they should present the contextual menu in the editor, and they'll definitely find what they're looking for. So if we want to simplify that menu, then we would angry this part of user, this type of user. So.
Well, if your user base expands, then you know, the number of people that are not very advanced in XML and all kinds of terminology, etc., will be a lot bigger.
Sure. Than the other part.
Geeks like me, you know, I never use auto mode because I hate it. You know, I want to see those angular brackets. So that's an exception, right?
Sure. So yes, it makes sense.
So that the standard layout should maybe be for the majority of users, and then have this
ability to switch it to something else. Yes.
stuff.
Yes, sure. It makes sense too.